wanted to think about questions.
Yes, so we're going to have an audience Q&A after our conversation. And then after that, we're going to take a little break. And then Megan is going to read us a little snippet from book 1 of her book, which is, I'm assuming, is it the prologue? Or did you pick?
We'll see what happens.
We will figure that out when we get there. And then
not give away spoilers doing a reading. So I have an idea.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, oftentimes authors just read like the first chapter or like the first prologue. So whatever is best read.
Yeah,
read the whole book if you really want to. You know, I'm not complaining. And then it's gonna be a little mingling time, getting to know Megan. You can talk to her yourself, ask her about her books, and yeah. That's pretty much how it's going to go down. Okay. So, without further ado, let's get started. Cool. So, Megan, before we get into the nitty gritty of you and your fabulous books, I have a couple icebreaker questions to loosen up a little bit. So, first question. If your camera roll was leaked online, what would we see the most of?
Random animals. If there's an animal, I'm taking a picture. I have so many pictures of my friend and her dog. And just, there's a cow on the side of the road. Click.
I don't think anybody would be mad at that.
There's a dog. I non-consensually take pictures of people's pets just walking off the street. I'm like, and then a lot of just like really bad attempts at taking a selfie because I'm not good at that. But I try.
It is difficult to take a good selfie,
and then I never delete them.
What do you mean?
Oh, the bad ones. I'm just like, and then I scroll through. I'm like, why do I have all of? So that's what you would get.
Okay. All right. So bad selfies and a lot of animal pics.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here. What's something you could give a 20-minute TED talk about with zero prep?
Yes, I could direct you to my best friend and she will just say, please just let's not go there. Anything. I worked in academia for a long time. So lecturing is just something I do. So grief, trauma, psychology, women's rights, healthcare, publishing, random thoughts that are in my head.
There's a lot you can talk about.
There's a lot. And sometimes my friends just say, my question was rhetorical. Please stop.
Well, it shows that you're very passionate about a lot of things. So that's not a bad thing, you know? And some things need to be talked about more.
Absolutely. So. I think so.
All right, last question here. If you had to survive a reality show, which one are you winning?
I'm not. I'm so not competitive.
Not at all?
I would be like making friends with the crew and like fixing the lights and the aesthetics and being much more focused on socializing. Then I probably would not even know what the rules were of the game that we were doing because I would have been talking to someone in line. I was getting explained.
You might win some like through favoritism. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, I remember when she helped fix the light.
Yeah, you know? Like she's cute and she tried hard. Let's give her
E for effort. An E for effort type of thing. Okay, love it. All right, let's jump into some questions about your writing journey. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you know you wanted to become an author?
I did not choose this. It chose me. I've been making up stories my whole life. I've always had such an active imagination. And then in, I think it was 3rd grade, my teacher had this whole short story writing, peer editing, to the point that we'd like get construction paper and like tape the pages together and make a cover. This is so cool. My stories can become something instead of just these kind of fantasies in my head. So it's just the way my brain is built. I just make stories.
That's really cool. Yeah. And I love that it started from such a young age. Do you remember the first thing you've ever written?
I don't remember it, but my mom just moved and basically said, come get your stuff. And I found when I was like 7 years old-ish, based on the date, because I dated it, sometime in 1994, I wrote my very first nonfiction book about mountain lions. Because where I grew up in California, there were mountain lions and there were deer, and we found a dead deer carcass on the hill behind our house. And so I learned a lot about mountain lions, and I wrote a very informative book about it at the age of 7 and how they look like kittens, but they will eat you and you should not pet them.
But if they're not friendly, why are they friendly shaped?
Right? Yeah.
Cruel.
Yeah, my parents had a hard time explaining that to me as a child.
You'd be the type to be like, "Ooh, but I want to play."
I mean, I wanted to go outside and play with the baby deer because, like Snow White and Cinderella had mice, but all the Disney princesses had their animal forest friends. Like,
Yeah. Snow White is the one with all the animals, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, why can't I do that?
Of course.
Of course, they're my friend.
Yeah. But you actually wrote like a book about it? Like,
it's like, there's like pages and they're stapled together, and I did illustrations and like sentences and everything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you still have that.
Well, I now have it in my house because my mom was like,
"Oh,
you should take it."
When you become a famous author, it'll be worth something.
I think so. Yeah.
Hold on
it's
to
factually accurate.
Yes.
Just, from a 7-year-old's perspective.
I mean, listen, other 7-year-olds might learn something from it. So you're teaching somebody.
Yeah.
All right. So you were talking a little bit about how you kind of have a little experience in everything. So you have a master's degree in clinical psychology and a PhD in palliative care. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like hospice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hospice.
I did not know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I
didn't either
when you started, you're like, oh, so this is what I'm doing. Cool. So you've also designed and tested your own counseling intervention for parentally bereaved children, which is very interesting. I would love to learn, how did these personal experiences influence your story and your storytelling?
Oh my gosh. So I lean hard on my education. There is so much grief and trauma in this series. I think anything that's military based, you're going to get that. It's war. Things happen that are sad. And I have always read military romance. I've just always been drawn to it. And I wanted to make sure that you have factually accurate depictions of, what does grief look like? How do people actually respond to trauma? Not in that cliche, a car backfired and I had flashbacks kind of way. Not to say that that doesn't happen, but there's so much more nuance in it. So I definitely, it informs a lot of my writing of just like things that I've seen when I worked clinically with patients, theoretical knowledge. And then on top of that, I tie in a lot of astrology. So I run each character's like natal chart to see like, who are you compatible with and how would you handle this situation?
I love that.
Together with like, did you grow up on a farm or in a city and what religion are you? And just kind of piecing all of that together to build a whole person.
That's really cool because it makes it more realistic, right? So yes, this is a fictional book about romance, which we love, and there's smut. Of course, we love that.
Yeah.
But there's also that realistic aspect where it's like, okay, she clearly knows what she's talking about because she's inflicting it on these characters and making it like this is real. Like this is something that people experience every day.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because I feel like sometimes like fiction, like it becomes too fictionalized, right? And one of the most famous quotes that everybody's aware is authors write what they know. Yeah. So I feel like that's really holds true for your books, which is really interesting.
Definitely.
Okay. So you were saying that your books are military and war inspired. So can you talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to go that route in terms of your writing?
Yeah. So my dad's a Vietnam veteran. One of my earliest childhood memories, probably my earliest childhood memory, is playing checkers at the VA hospital. My brother's Boy Scout troop was doing some community service thing. I was 3 or 4 and along for the ride. I did not know how to play checkers, let me tell you.
I still don't.
I mean, whatever. But I made up a game. I was hanging out with this woman. She was a patient in the hospital. She had been a nurse in World War II. Just absolutely like super cool. And I had like the best time doing that. Then my Girl Scout troop growing up helped my dad's veterans group with a whole bunch of community service projects, and I just kind of grew up around it. I didn't know until I went off to college that wasn't normal. That like your family doesn't just like go to the VA center and volunteer on a Saturday. I don't know. Yeah. That's just what we did. So I think just kind of growing up around it and being engrossed in it, I mean, when I was in grad school, my very first patient that I worked with, I couldn't diagnose her. I had no idea. It was all this. She was there for like relationship troubles with her boyfriend. And then we were filming our sessions because we're students so that our supervisor could see like what we're doing, critique our, helping, and this girl just starts having flashbacks in the room. And I'm showing this to my supervisor, like, look, she's having flashbacks. And my supervisor was like, how did you just talked her back to the room. We haven't taught you that yet. That's like really advanced. How did you know how to do that? And I was like, I don't know. I've always done this.
Like you thought it was normal.
I didn't know that was something hard to do. I've been doing this my whole life for people. So, I mean, trauma is just what I know.
Yeah. And how was it, there's not a lot of people I know that have veterans in their family. So how was it growing up, like going to school and just navigating through that?
I think like where I grew up, it was maybe more normal. And I don't think I really knew if people's dads like weren't veterans, because I just was so involved like through my dad's community of helping that way. So, it was just like on Tuesdays, dad goes to his veteran support group and we just don't talk to him about it. We just let him do his thing.
Right.
Just don't ask about it. All good.
Yeah. Kind of looking outward, based on, feedback from your readers, why do you think people enjoy reading about military inspired romance?
I mean, especially in the US, I think we're kind of indoctrinated of that like pro-military, who doesn't love a hero? Like the men in uniform, they're kind of hot. Okay. Sorry, they just are. But, and then coupled with, especially for us millennials, like the Disney princess generation, where we were like really taught kind of in this toxic way that we need the guy to come save us and we need to be rescued and like, don't be too smart because they won't like you, and give them something to help you with. And I think a lot of military romance falls into that. This does not. This is like small.
No, like this is not sweet. This is not fun. This is heavy.
This is different.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of it. Is like, who doesn't love a hero and who doesn't love the action and the drama and that intense love story of it all. Yeah. It's kind of addictive.
Yeah. And as someone that I love, okay, so like I'm not a contemporary romance reader. I love the dark romance. So like the grief, the trauma, the morally gray characters. I'm sure some of us here can relate. That is my, bread and butter type of thing. So this is up my alley.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I love that. Like sometimes, like it's how you said, like the Disney princess generation, like we grew up with like, oh, we love the hero, like the hero always, like our knight in shining armor comes to save us. And this is not really that depiction, but it's more real. It's like you said, like that realistic aspect of what would happen if we were in that world. Yeah. Which is really cool. In writing your books, what is your writing style like? Did you outline your books, or was it kind of like, yeah, we'll figure it out as we get there. We'll see what happens.
Well, so I think it's now chapter 3, but originally it was chapter 1. It just kind of came to me like a movie. Anytime I try to plot an outline, I sit down to write it and the characters do something completely different, which makes the story so much better. So sometimes if I get stuck, I'll start outlining to kind of piece things together. It never works.
Okay. All right.
They're just Post-its on my walls. And then I'm like, wait, what was it? Oh, no, this was better. Never mind. Don't do that. So I trust the characters to take the story where it needs to go. And it just sometimes
kind of let them lead the way.
Yeah. But like some of the best things that I've written, I'll be out for a walk. I'll be driving in my car and it just pops into my head.
So are you like scurrying on the side of the road to write it down? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're that driver.
There's a lot of voice notes. There's a lot of, I just pull into a rest stop and like type it in a note on my phone. So I remember.
Okay. So when we see that, I'll be like, okay, that's probably Megan or someone similar to Megan.
That's just an author having an epiphany right now.
Of course. Yes. We should normalize that. Of course. So I have actually a follow-up question because I love hearing authors' thought process when they say like the characters take over. Me, as someone that does not know anything about writing or the imagination, I leave it up to you guys because you guys are the professionals. How does that work? Like, just can you walk us through like one of those epiphanies? Like a character is like, okay, no, we're doing this. How does that, what does that look like?
Honestly, when I'm writing, I get into such a flow state. I don't know if I'm channeling it from the universe or if it's my subconscious doing things. I don't know where it's coming from, but I just type and it comes out. And then I go back and read it. I'm like, ooh, that's actually really good. Whereas if I sit there and say, write something, be smart and put the words on the page. No,
Wow.
that's no good.
So you're kind of like in a trance when you're writing. So you're like kind of like an out of body.
It's definitely that like flow state. I think it's theta waves, like just locked in and going. And then my friends will even say, we know if you don't text us back for like 4 hours that you're writing.
You're like you're in a bubble, like all the way.
Sometimes they'll be like, please take a break and eat something. And I'm like, thanks guys.
Well, but you have friends that look out for you. That's very
They try. I don't always follow their instructions. They try.
We were talking a little bit about how you write exactly what you know, what you've experienced growing up. So how does any research go into your books? Any additional research?
So much research. So, I mean, getting a PhD is basically getting a degree in how to research. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is. It is how do you verify your sources and how do you explain it to someone else? How do you prove your point? So there's a lot of research. Sometimes I'll just write and then I go back and fact check, because it'll just be coming out. And then sometimes I research, like, is there snow in the mountains of Afghanistan? Their national animal is a snow leopard. So my editor and I had there was like an hour on that. I'm like, on Google Maps, see, it's white. White, that has to be snow.
She's like, here, it's evidence.
So there was a lot of research. I have a lot of friends in the military. So I asked them, I live in Virginia Beach, so dating is book research because everyone there is in the military. So it's, sometimes just like, hey, so
is this true?
What kind of plane gets from like DC to Afghanistan the fastest? And they're like, are you transporting? Like, what are you transporting? Like, that makes a difference, I guess. I don't know. Like, people and like equipment. Okay, you need a C-130. I'm like, awesome. No idea what that is, but got it.
It makes sense. It makes sense for the book.
I believe you. So definitely asking them. My editor too, like she has a friend who works for the Secret Service. Like I think her uncle was like a captain in the Navy. So like we ask people pertinent questions and try to confirm what Google's telling us, because that's not always the internet lies. The people who have done it don't usually. Sometimes my friends will look at me and be like, I can't tell you that. Okay.
Like, okay.
Like classified as classified.
Say, yeah.
But if I ask this question in a roundabout way,
like, is there a loophole?
I will get an answer.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Figure it out.
I love that you have so many like primary resources that you can go and ask your questions, and they'll give you like, because you're right, like the internet is wishy-washy. Half the time does not tell you the truth.
One of my best beta readers is active duty in the Navy. He's deployed right now, and I told him he wasn't allowed to deploy because it's messing up my publishing schedule for book 3.
The nerve.
He said, yes, ma'am, I'll feed that up the chain of command. Like, you do that. I'm sure he did not, but
well, he should. I'm just like,
this
come on.
Is so much more important,
right? Like, you have to read your book.
Than your ship. Okay.
Come on now. It's priority. Am I right? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you were saying a lot of themes in this book is military families, women kind of stepping up, and a lot of mental health, a lot of grief and trauma. Do you see your stories as advocates for these themes and these topics?
Yeah, that's one of my goals with the books. And when I hired my editor, I told her that. I said, there's going to be things that are not necessarily plot relevant, but they're there for a reason.
Right.
Like, we're having a conversation about condoms for a reason. We're having a conversation about infertility and birth control and ectopic pregnancy for a reason. We're talking about women's rights and how that looks in different countries for a reason. So yeah, no, I definitely, advocacy is a big thing. I want it to be educational, but also entertaining.
Right.
So that, you know, I'm depicting healthy relationships. I'm depicting healthy communication. Not that, you know, some of my characters aren't walking red flags. They're not perfect people, but I and the other characters hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they act up and do something bad, they're called out on it and they're held accountable.
Right.
And they have those difficult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's really important to model that for people.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, it goes back to like that realistic aspect, you know, like fiction can still have like realistic elements to it. And, you know, oftentimes like it teaches us, right? It's not just like sometimes, yes, we read for joy, but with books like this, we really try to take something away from it.
Exactly. And all the mental health stuff is based on like evidence-based practice and my own experience as a clinician and working with people. And I try to not have it be like super cliche kind of stuff so that it's relatable, it's realistic, but it's also on a level that's accessible and not, I mean, it's not an academic paper.
Right. It's still meant to be enjoyed.
Very few people want to read those.
Yeah, of course. Like it's still meant to be enjoyed, but you still like put it in along the books. Very nice. So let's dive into the SEAL Saga series here.
Oh my gosh.
So before we dive into what's inside these gorgeous books, I would love to know what inspired a lot of things. So what inspired the covers and the title, and we'll talk about the sprayed edges in a second, but let's focus on the front first.
Okay, so Skylark, the title, it's the main character's call sign. Okay. So Rachel Riker, her call sign is Skylark. Easy.
Okay.
And then the cover, I found a cover designer whose work I loved. She sent me a questionnaire of like, you know, what's your book about? What are the themes? What kind of images do you want? Send me some pictures of covers that you like for inspiration so I can kind of see what style you're going for. And I did that and she did this. I had very little to do with it. And she sent me back the first draft. All I changed was the font she used.
Wow.
This is so how do you make this?
I could ask the same question because I have no idea how one would do that. I got
the very first like proof of it. My jaw hit the floor. I just was like,
it was exactly what you wanted.
No, it was something I couldn't even imagine. It was so much better than anything I could imagine.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then the edges, I found this edge like a tattoo design, kind of like a picture someone had like on their forearm of a tattoo kind of like that. Nice. And I was like, that's cool with the birds and like toss a little gun in there and like
to make it relevant. Yeah. Of course, you know,
send it to an art. Can you make this edge design?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Do it.
It's beautiful. You guys, isn't it so cool? I'm obsessed. Yeah. And it's also really fun in the colors. I love the colors.
Gotta have colors.
Of course.
And then the second one, I used the same cover designer. The title. The title in this one, Born in Blood, is from a scene where Rachel, the FMC, is talking to Christopher, the MMC, about childhood trauma stuff. Trigger warning on this one. So Christopher's like main childhood trauma, he found his mom in the middle of a miscarriage when he was a kid and had to call 911 to save her. So Rachel says something like, oh, I get why we're like messed up in the same way. We were both born in blood. So it's kind of like that baptism by fire sort of concept. So that's where that title comes from. And then the cover, I used the same designer. And this time I had some great ideas and tried to micromanage her and it was awful. So then I just was like, look, this is what happens at the midpoint of the book. She's going to the White House for this event.
Figure it out.
And then some bad stuff happens. Okay. I don't know because I'm now like going to pay you for extra revisions because I micromanaged it into a disaster. So please ignore everything I've said.
Kind of like the first book. It's like, you know, like just do it yourself and just send it back to me.
I'm done trying to be a visual person.
Yeah.
And then she came up with that edge design all on her own.
Oh, she came up with this.
Yeah, I think I sent her like a thing with like hearts and a bomb because like there's like a lot of bombs in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stunning. I love it.
So I say let the professionals do the things that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
You learned your lesson. So now for like book 3, and
Yes.
you're going to just be like, here. I think
This
at this
is the
point,
main things that happen. Figure it out.
Yeah,
I
like you know at this point how it is. So.
Yeah, I'm done trying. Just trust you.
So
Yeah.
I have a fun just follow-up question because we're on the topic of the sprayed edges. So when you do signings and readers come to your table, tell me, is it the sprayed edges what drives them? Like what
A
brings
lot of
them?
times, they see it from across because it's so visual.
Yeah.
And I usually this is a small table, but I usually spiral it so you can see it from all angles. And people are just like, how did you do that? It's so pretty. I have to have it. Like, do you want to know what it's about first? And
they're like, it's
not always.
It's not important, but
not always.
Edges.
So it definitely helps to grab attention, especially at bigger events. When you have, and I don't like to see other authors as competition, but when you're in a room with 100 authors, you need something to catch somebody's eye.
Pull,
you
of
know?
course. You wouldn't be the first person first author to say that either.
That's the only marketing strategy I'm good at.
You're pretty good at it.
Yeah, just make them pretty. It's my 4 leaf replacement. They have to be pretty. I can't have ugly things in my house. Like it's just, make it look nice. I can sit on your shelf for forever.
Of course. And see, I have on my shelf, I don't know about you guys, but I have a shelf, like I have a bookcase, and then one of my shelves is just all sprayed edges. Yeah, it's because I face them outward because they're pretty. Like I buy them because they're pretty,
Exactly.
Why else would
they're
I buy
also
them?
good books though. So there's
right. Yeah,
but
right.
Well, not all of them.
Of course,
they have to look nice.
Of course, 100%.
Yeah,
you have to convince me. I am already on the side of sprayed edges.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah. All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit like high level here. Walk us through what this series as a whole is about.
Sure. So Skylark is the story of Rachel Riker. She's the first female Navy SEAL. She's trying to dismantle the patriarchy and liberate women from global subjugation.
That's right.
She may or may not be in love with her best friend, who's also her second in command. So it's like a friends to lovers, found family, forbidden romance. And then Born in Blood continues Rachel and Christopher's story. So spoilers if I tell you too much there. I mean, you can read the back cover text if you want, but continues their story. So they're the main characters throughout the whole series. Which is something with a lot of romance series that irritates me because I fall in love with a couple in book 1, and then book 2 is like about their friends.
Oh, like
and then book 3 is like about their friends. I'm like, but what happened to the first people? I love a happily ever after, but like
we want more.
But then what?
Yeah. So you don't like interconnected standalones?
I do, but I don't.
Okay, that's a fair answer.
Read them. But I'm always like, but I want to know about the other people. I mean, I do eventually fall in love with the other couples, right? But I'm like,
the first couple has a
special
place.
I still want to know about, and then like book 4, I'm like, well, we've got all these other people. What are they doing now?
Yeah.
So I think I have a hard time letting go.
Okay, you have a love-hate relationship with it. All right, all right.
Definitely.
We can accept that. So it's fair to say that you need to read book 1 to read book 2. For this specific series,
I would recommend. Technically, you can just jump in at book 2, but it's better if you read it.
Oh, you can jump into the first.
Technically,
but you don't.
We wrote it in such a way that you should be able to get caught up. But just
read book 1. Read book 1, guys. Don't read book 2 first. Read book 1 first. So what can readers expect going into this for the first time? Whether it's like emotionally or just character-wise? I
can just say buckle up, Buttercup.
Can we get that on a t-shirt? Buckle up, Buttercup. I love that.
It is a wild ride. There's a lot of witty banter, lots of flirting. Skylark is definitely a slow burn. But then there's also the trauma and the grief and the tragedy and the crisis and the violence and the chaos of war. So it's a roller coaster of laughing and crying and all the things.
The perfect book, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's the perfect of like, oh, great, you're going to break my heart. Cool. You're going to heal it and then break it again.
And my friends texting me being like, excuse me, what just happened? I'm like, I don't know what page you're on. So you're like, which time are we talking about here? Which chapter are you at? I'm like, oh, okay. No, but it gets worse. So hold on. Hold that thought. But then it gets better. But then it gets worse.
Being your friend must be like insane to be like, oh my God, you're doing this to me. You're breaking my heart. What is happening right now?
To be fair, like my very best friend in the whole world, she beta reads for me and she's very direct. So the first version of Skylark that she read, one of her notes was, wow, that must have been really cathartic for you. And I was like, which part? And she told me, and I was like, I see your point.
Was it cathartic?
Yeah. And then she told me she hated Rachel. So you can't hate my main character. She's like, no, I found her somewhat obnoxious. I'm like, I need more detail. I need specifics. How do we fix it? What upset you the most? How do I fix it?
Right.
And then we did. And she's like, okay, we're cool now. We're good. She does not hold back.
But that's good though. You need that honesty.
I need that.
Yeah.
I definitely need that. And she willingly reads multiple versions of all of the books.
Nice.
So
yeah. So she knows like, and she's seen like your writing develop. And,
yeah. And it's great because this is not a genre. She reads more like romantic-y stuff.
She should connect with us too. We love romantasy here.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's like, I'm only reading this because I love you.
Of course.
But also it's good. I'm like, thank you. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Without her, there would be no.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah. That's really sweet. Well, like you said, it's always good. You always need like that village to back you. And
oh my gosh, yes. This is, I mean, it's a group project. It really is.
Mm-hmm. You're writing it, but there's like people that are supporting you and motivating you and reading it for you and telling you like, no, this sucks. Like fix it. So that's exactly what you need.
That's what you need.
So you were saying that your dad is a Vietnam War veteran. So I'm very curious to know, what is it like writing about military heroes when you've lived so closely with one?
So I had, long before this came out, I had like read chapters 1 and 2 for free as like a marketing thing. And it was a very early version of the book. So not completely different, but very different from what it is now. And my dad, so Rachel's father is an admiral in the Navy. He doesn't know that she's a SEAL. And my dad was like, if he's an admiral, he would know what his daughter is up to. And I wasn't sure if he was like offended by the idea that a father wouldn't know what their daughter's doing, to which I was like, I think I have some news for you. Or if he was like, this is how the Navy works, which he was in the Army. So I'm like, whatever, grain of salt. And it's like, cool. But it's pertinent to the story that he's not micromanaging his daughter's career.
Right.
Like that. Him not knowing is a very important aspect of this. So like, and so all my family in the military, all my friends in the military, they like to point out which parts I got wrong. And I just look them dead in the eye and say, 1, it's fiction. 2, it's the military with a woman in charge. And 3, I'm the woman in charge.
That's right.
So we're going to do it my way.
Love it.
Because your way is sometimes dumb.
Someone's got to say it.
So, this is how it would go if women were in charge. And my beta reader, he's like, she gets promoted. And at some point, he's like, well, that's not how promotional boards work. Got an hour-long lecture on promotional boards and how you actually get promoted in the Navy. And I was just like, yeah, dude, no one's reading that. My readers will close the book and throw it away.
Yeah.
Absolutely no one cares. She gets promoted. Move on.
I was going to say, I think they forget, like, this is not like an academic paper, like you were saying. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would need an entire chapter and it would be the most boring chapter of any book ever. Like, if I'm bored listening to you tell me about it while I have a cocktail in my hand, we're not writing that at all. No.
See, like, I was not expecting this answer. What I was expecting is like, oh my God, it's so rewarding, to, do this in honor of my friends and my family that are in the military. Wow, that was not what I was expecting as an
That's
answer.
you. Okay. That's you. Okay, so I am also a member of the Military Writers Society of America.
Oh, that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Cool.
That's a thing. So
Very
any
cool.
aspiring authors, find a Writers Society. I swear, they're amazing. They actually gave Skylark a bronze medal, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And that's graded not on how much they like it, because trust me, there was like a 60-year-old man, I don't know how old he was, but an older gentleman read it and reviewed it and was like, oh, it's kind of like Kristen Hanna. And I was like, oh, what? That is a big compliment. I almost died when he said that right to my face.
I would have passed away.
I almost did.
Immediately.
I almost did. But it's a group of veterans, active duty, military family members, or just anyone who writes about the military can join. And we have a conference every year, and it's pretty cool. So I do love that. I love, getting to highlight a lot of veterans issues because I've been so connected to them, like veteran suicide and PTSD and the adjustment of coming back to the real world. And some of my friends have even been like, how do you get, not having experienced yourself, how do you understand the struggle that we have coming back from deployment? Like, I've watched it. I don't know how I get it, guys. I just do. So I'm hoping one day when this is actually profitable that like portion of the proceeds can go to like a veterans charity or something. But yeah, it's pretty, it is that dichotomy, because like, you're like, yeah, she writes books about like militaries. There's like a girl in charge. We don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's cool, but it's also like, this is not right. This is not how things are. Like,
but also they're like, thank you for doing it. Like,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
how does your dad feel now after like 2 books published? How
he is selling this book to everyone. So he
should.
He's in real estate, so he's in sales.
Oh, so he's like good at selling.
His office manager, she's one of my best customers now. She's like, Megan, I need the next one. I've never read this genre before. She's known me my whole life, right? So she's like, I'm only reading it because you wrote it. But like, it's so good. I need the next one. And I'm like, yes, why?
That's great. That's awesome.
And he, like my dad, last time I was home visiting, he was in California. So last time I was home visiting, he took me to like a dinner that his veterans group was having. He was like, this is my daughter. And she writes books about like military characters and stuff. And I was like, that is technically what the book is about.
Military characters and stuff.
That's not wrong. It's general, but that's true. Yes. Good job, Dad.
He was on the right path.
On the right path. So I think my stepmom's reading it to him, but I'm also kind of like, can I just like redact portions?
Oh my God. Has he read?
I don't want to know if my dad has read this month that I've written. My stepmom, I'm quite sure has, and that's fine.
I feel like that's okay. Like, I don't know how I would feel if my father read
this at your own risk.
Right.
Like, you know what it's about. You do you. Make an informed choice.
Be like, I warned you.
Never ask me about
it. We kind of talked about this a little earlier about making this book accessible, but for readers that may not be familiar or as experienced with military themes and growing up in a military family, how do you balance that authenticity with like the military terms and the traditions and the like all like the standards, but also keeping it like engaging for readers that may not know all about all this?
So I try to keep it as like a spy movie. I mean, like, who hasn't seen like James Bond or like Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Like, everyone knows there's like spy cameras and recording devices.
Yeah.
Like, you know what a gun is. I'd say most people know the difference between a pistol and a rifle. So things like that. I do research and reference like specifically what rifle and what pistol the SEALs are issued. But I don't get into the technical specifications of the weapon, which a lot of my male author friends that write more the like action adventure thriller military novels. I'm reading one right now and I'm like not entirely sure I needed to know what kind of oil you use to lubricate a jet engine, but that's interesting. Like I like all the technical specifications of the engine. And I'm like, this is gender differences. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But in my case, not the most relevant. Whereas they might not be super interested in whether Rachel has her hair in a bun or a ponytail. They're like, if she's in uniform, it needs to be within regulations, right? That's their care. And I'm like, but if it's in a bun, she's in a more formal, regimented, like talking to leadership setting. Whereas if she's got her hair just like in a ponytail, she's about to like run into chaos and like kick some ass. You know, it's not a formal, uptight, proper thing. And that's more like her personality and acute to the reader of the setting that we're in. So instead of giving you technical specifications on a weapon, I'll be like, you know, Rachel pulls out her Sig P from her side holster and then aims it at her target's head. So you know that it's a gun.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Right.
But I'm not going to explain to you where it was manufactured or what caliber bullet unless the caliber of bullet is necessary, like forensic evidence clue for something else, right?
Right, yeah. You don't go into details, not that academic paper that we keep saying.
Yeah.
So it's very high level and very just like, you can kind of, if you know the basics, which people should
Yeah.
know the basics.
And some of my male readers are like, but can you describe the map more? And I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to.
But I will say, like, that info dumping is, like,
Yeah.
it's very, like, personally, like, you lose me as a reader because it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of information to retain, but you're also, you're like, okay, like, what's happening with the characters? Can we kind of go back to that storyline and that plot? Yeah.
And in some books, it's good. In some books, it's necessary. Like, if your main character is an airplane mechanic, that might be super relevant.
Right.
But here it's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the time and place.
Yeah.
Time and place. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about Rachel for a second here. So what inspired you to make a story around the first female Navy SEAL?
I think I found it necessary. Frankly, I think women in the military are necessary. Women in leadership are necessary. Women doing everything is necessary, especially now, given current events.
Understandable.
Yeah, but I think just highlighting how women lead differently than men and how things can be done differently and putting that kind of feminist spin on things, because she definitely leads in a different way. And I mean, some of that's influenced by like Brene Brown's work and just leadership in general, of like women lead from a place of empathy and group dynamic more than men tend to lead more hierarchical. Again, let's teach some leadership strategy.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I just couldn't not.
Well, you do know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do know. And I think you're right. It is super important to show that like women can do it too, and still get that outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah.
They may do it differently. They may take a different path, have a different strategy, but at the end of the day, if they get it done, it has without giving too much away, without too spoilery here, but I'm sure there is. But is there resistance from people, her coworkers?
Yeah. So not from her team. I would say like prequels that are to come. Definitely there's
Prequels that are to come.
Definitely there's resistance. There's reference to like the first day she showed up at Buds, which is SEAL training. That they all assume she was like the nurse or human resources. Or they're like, why is this blonde chick here? Fair, right? She's the first woman doing it. And then she definitely has some superiors that are like, we don't want you here. We don't like you. So she's, I had a woman who was in the army. She was just getting out of the army when she read this. I think she was on page 7 maybe. And she texted me and she said, I don't know how you've captured my experience of being a woman in the military.
Wow.
But just this first meeting that Rachel's in, kind of opening in the first part of the book, she's like, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Of like, little girl, mind your manners, know your place. The grown-ups are talking. And she's like, I earned this just as much as you did.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to fight twice as hard to get half the respect.
Right.
So
have you gotten, so like this was one example from a friend of yours, but have other readers, maybe people that you don't know that are just like on social media, have they ever messaged you and said like, you really hit the nail on the head with this one? Have you gotten those responses?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel as an author?
Successful. Like, that's my definition of success. If a reader tells me they could resonate and relate to anything, that's success. I would love to sell 1 million copies. That'd be amazing. But if people are just reading it and not feeling anything, I don't like that.
Right.
I want people to read it and connect and feel something and learn something and feel seen and heard. In some way.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. So talking about Rachel here, you mentioned it earlier in our conversation, but she doesn't want to just serve. She wants to dismantle the patriarchy. Yeah. That is like her mantra throughout this book.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, how does this viewpoint, this drive, this push that she's focusing on, how does it shape her journey throughout the books?
Oh, it's a journey. There is definitely. It starts out, the journey, well, obviously the journey starts in Skylark. But there's a part in the first third of the book where some stuff goes down, and she's talking to Christopher, and she's kind of realizing she's had an interaction with some women in the Middle East, right? And they're married to like Taliban, like Islamic extremist leaders. And she's talking to them, and she realizes they don't see that as oppression. So what she's trying to fight against, what she's trying to liberate them from, they see as protection. They see it as safety. They see it as security because they have a husband. They have a roof over their head. They, don't have to worry about having a job and all these things. They can just focus on their home and their children. And that's, to them, security.
Right.
Whereas Rachel's like, get rid of them. Like, this, what do you mean he hit you? That's not okay. Like, let me go on a side quest and eliminate him for you.
As one does.
As one does. It's a lot of side quests. That the guys on our team are just like, all right, I guess we're doing this again. No one talk about this part, right?
How many people are over Rachel, like, at this point? At that point, they're like, oh, here she goes again,
Well, she's got good reason. She's the definition of morally gray, right? She's got her code of ethics. She's got her code of morality, and she sticks to it really firmly. And it's not necessarily, the traditional code of ethics, right? She knows when she's doing something she technically shouldn't be doing, but the correct thing and the right thing aren't always the same thing, of course. Yeah. And she makes those calls, and she also would never ever ask anyone serving under her to do those. She does it herself. She takes the accountability and she performs those actions. And she's like, you all go wait outside. You don't need to be privy to this. You don't need to know about it. You don't need to see it. If you want to help, you're welcome to. But I got this. This is on me.
I love that she's like someone that can kind of stand on her own. Like, I got this. Like, I don't need help. I don't need someone to, I don't need to like explain myself.
To a toxic degree, yes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like stubbornness, like you need to say like, I got this. Like, I could do it on my own, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean like, I need help type of thing. Which is a lovely message.
Yeah.
Super, super important. So let's talk about a little bit about Christopher here, because we've heard snippets of our MMC here. So he is Rachel's second in command and her best friend.
Yeah.
So how do their roles in each other's lives evolve? Because I know there's a romance to it.
I mean, it's a friends to lovers romance.
Yes.
So that happens. It starts out as this like super in denial about their feelings, they're best friends. It's totally platonic, but the flirting. And they don't realize that they're flirting because they're kind of emotionally cut off from that side of themselves. Rachel's all up in everybody's business. She'll process everyone's emotions. She's got this whole sharing care thing where the team has to sit down and talk about their feelings, and the guys humor her about it. Not super happy. And then Christopher kind of knows in the back of his mind that, she's the one, but it's never going to happen because he has the choice. Like, she's his boss, and like in the military, you cannot fraternize with anyone above you, below you, in your same command center, like with your same job. None of that. Like, it's a hands-off situation. And they know that, they respect that. And I think for Christopher, there's a line in the book where he's like wanting to get out of the Navy, and she's like, don't you dare leave me. Don't you dare leave me. I can't do this without you. And so he kind of has to pick between getting the girl of his dreams in the way he wants, or staying with her in his role in that friendship work relationship that they have.
But they can't be
exclusive. Yeah. And he's got this, like, they're both obsessed with, duty and honor. That's what they do, and their integrity. And he's like, well, I've got to stick with her. She needs me, and she needs me in this way. And he's fiercely loyal to his friends and his family. Like, if you go after one of Christopher's friends, like, you're in for it. You're not surviving.
Noted.
You are not. But at the same time, he's the kind of person that's like, I'm going to work hard when I need to, But also if I can like sleep in or like head off to the bar, like peace out from work a little early and go to the bar, like he's going to do that.
Right. As one does.
You know, but when push comes to shove, when he needs to do, like, he's all in. He's all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he is definitely the more optimistic, realistic, rational one that's like, well, you know, this is reality, but let's put a positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rachel's like, let me prepare for the worst. Always.
Yeah.
With 7 contingency plans.
Right.
He's like, yeah, but none of those are going to happen. Just it's all gonna be great.
Well, I feel like also like this mentality of hers is like, because she's the first Navy SEAL, like SEAL woman. So I feel like she's under a microscope a little bit closer than a man would be. So she needs to be prepared. She needs to think about this stuff because if she one little misstep or she's fully accused. A man can make the same mistake and they're like, oh, well, you know, that happens.
And it happens a lot in Skylark that things come up and she's like, I cannot let this happen.
Yeah.
I cannot let this happen because I will lose my job.
Yeah.
If a man did this, fine. Mm-hmm. But I know specifically my boss's boss has it out for me.
Yeah.
I am under a microscope.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
One tiny bad call.
And that's pressure. I'm sure she feels it. And it's something that, you know, Christopher, that's her best friend, right?
Yeah.
But can he really understand?
He is aware of it, but no.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I get they treat you differently, but like.
So what type of thing?
Yeah. You know? And she's like, no, this is.
It matters.
So a lot of times she just won't even tell him. You know, she gets a thing of like, if you mess this up, that's the end. And she's like, I would love to share this with someone, but I can't.
Right.
Because that's putting too much pressure on the team. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard, you know, but that's what one of my favorite things about this book is like, it's hard, but she does it anyway.
Yeah.
And she proves that she can do it anyway. And she does it on her own, which is insane. And I love that. That's a beautiful message for women just of our age, but also for younger women too. Like just little girls. They're hopefully like when they grow up and they read this book, they see Rachel as some like an inspiration, like a role model type of thing. It doesn't have to be military related, but it's something like men can do it. We can do it 10 times better, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. That's a beautiful message. And I hope people actually take that away when they read your book.
So do I.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment, whether writing book 1 or book 2, where a character's actions surprise you because you said that they take the wheel? So
all the time. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'll be writing and then I'll go back and read and be like, you did what now? Why? Why would you do that? It was so dumb.
Have you ever tried to fix it? Have you ever tried to say,
no, because it's always better.
Okay.
It's always better. It just throws in that little twist or like, oh, I mean, I never would have consciously come up with that on my own.
Yeah.
That's where we're going with that. And usually it works itself out. Sometimes I'll have to go back and be like, and choose between that and something that I wrote earlier because we can't have it. They conflict.
Yeah.
So that's when I email my editor and say, okay, choose your own adventure, version 1 or version 2. And we talk it out and kind of figure out, you know, long-term planning, what's going to have the best impact.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So is there any, and I feel like we've kind of talked about this, but is there a misconception about writing military-inspired romance that you like to talk about and smash?
Gosh, yeah. So, like I said, that guy saving the girl, I read a lot of military romance, and no matter how smart the FMC is and how capable she is, she tends to get herself into a situation where the guy needs to come save her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if she had just had better communication skills, none of this would have happened. So stupid.
I need you to critique books for a little. I feel like that would be. I would love to hear your opinions on all these comments.
It's one of my side projects. I would love to. I just need more time to actually do stuff on TikTok. Yeah, but there's that, and then like I said, the kind of cliche portrayals of the PTSD and the like reclusive veteran who's back in the small town and doesn't want to talk to anybody until the pretty girl shows up. Mm-hmm. Like, I almost feel like that's giving these guys permission to do that, and that's just not good for their mental health.
Right. I mean, yeah, sometimes I don't know. I feel like, but you know, it's just like that primal instinct. Like men always feel like they need to save the girl type, like the damsel in distress type of thing.
Yeah, they want to be protected. Right. And I love that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But sometimes we can save ourselves.
Absolutely.
And then I think just like smut in general gets, you know, like, oh, there's no plot. I've read some smut that doesn't have a plot. My male readers, they're like, oh, it's smut with a plot. All of the smut is actually like,
it makes sense.
Needed to drive the plot forward or to drive the character development forward. They're not just hooking up for funsies. Like there's a plot driven reason behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a character development reason behind everything that's happening in that scene.
Yeah. And I love that. Some, like you said, sometimes like, yes, there's too much. There's too much and it doesn't make sense to the plot, right? Yeah. But if it's like if it's needed to drive it forward, it makes sense in that case. So if readers can take away one thing after reading your book, which I know we've kind of talked a little bit about here, what do you hope that they take away, at least the reading it the first time? There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. Oh, that's hard. That women in leadership is better. I don't know. I think there's so much that you can take away from it that would depend on who I'm talking to.
Okay.
For men, I'm like, here's an instruction manual on how to talk to women.
Can we please advertise this book that way? I would love that.
Follow me on Threads. It happens a lot. I'm like, please keep reading smut because it's written by women. It teaches you things.
Yes.
They're like, it's so mindless and dumb. I'm like, we're literally teaching you how we want to be treated. Just read it.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff. And then I think just the idea that like, you can be strong, you can be brave, you can be confident. You don't have to be perfect at everything. You just have to try. And I think one thing that I've learned from my research, like on the SEAL community, is like their definition of failure is giving up. Like you haven't failed until you give up.
That's beautiful. And I agree with that 100%.
Because every iteration, every attempt is just a learning opportunity.
Yeah. And, you know, it's crazy. There was another author I spoke to a while ago, and she said this quote, for the love of me, I can't remember exactly what the quote is, but it's something along the lines of, if you see like all of your failures as an experience, it's not a failure. It's like a learning.
Yeah.
Something like that. I really roughly paraphrase that, but something like that.
Exactly.
Like
as long as you're learning from it,
yes,
it's not a failure.
Yes.
It's not even a mistake.
Yes. And that
it's a learning opportunity.
And I feel like, a lot of people struggle to, and I understand, like, you know, it's a really great setback and you feel like, okay, like, how do I move forward from this? So the easiest route is to give up.
Yeah.
And I love that, you know, in this book, it shows you like, that's not always the only way. Like there's other ways that you can get back up. And I love that.
That's actually one of the main themes of the third book is like, if you didn't have adversity, you wouldn't grow.
Yes.
Adversity is how people learn to identify and solve problems.
Yes.
If everything was perfect, we'd never improve anything.
Yeah.
Like if you never had to struggle through something, you're not learning to solve problems. You're not learning to be creative and inventive.
Yes.
And persevere. You're just like, I'm going to just go about my day. Cool.
Yeah.
And then something bad happens.
You're like, oh my God, how do I handle
And
this?
you have no idea what to do.
Yeah. It's complacency. So, like you become complacent and you don't get phased of like any other things that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's, I mean, a lot of times the most resilient adults are the ones who had the hardest childhoods.
Yes.
Because they learned early on how to survive and how to get through it and how to make the best of a bad situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. So let's pull back a little bit here, kind of look back to you as we look at moving forward from book 1 and book 2. You said there's book 3 in the works. So is there anything that we can know about book 3?
My editor currently has it.
Okay.
She's doing a developmental edit.
Great. Oh, so it's finished.
No, it's a mess. All
right. Well, that's one way to look at it.
It's the most complex book that I've written so far. Originally, I had thought out to have the main series with Rachel and Christopher and then have some like tangential, like tandem reads. And then I realized if I, the author, was getting confused and overwhelmed by it, there was no way people were going to do this. It was too much. Too many overlapping timelines and things like that. There were spreadsheets involved. It was interesting. So weaving all of that into one book. And then what was going to be book 3 in the main series is now kind of book 4. So it's just a lot of reworking and reintegrating things. And like, how do we balance all the different points of view and the different plot points to get us from point A to point B with all these different kind of things converging to get us to where we're going in book 4.
Okay. So there will be a book 4. Okay. How long are you expecting this series to be?
Probably 7 books.
7 books. Okay. Yeah. This is like a Throne of Glass situation.
Right? It's structurally similar to Throne of Glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Listen, Throne of Glass was my Roman Empire.
Oh, no, me
so
too.
if you tell me like if you sell it like that.
Me too. Oh no, like I mean like Selena or Elaine and Rachel, they're similar people.
I can see that. Just the way you're describing her, I can see that.
Involved.
Yeah. it's like the mortal version of Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah. I could totally see that.
My editor actually had me read, or she and my best friend were like, oh my God, you need to read ACOTAR. There is an essay of my thoughts on Farah and why did she get a lobotomy when she saw the cute boy? Like, I don't understand. She starts out as this like super powerful huntress, and then she meets the Fae, and she's just like, I don't know anymore. Like, what is happening? And I believe in the character development across 10 books. I'm like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, you need to switch to Throne of Glass, and I was hooked, and I was like, yeah.
They're two very different.
This is where it's at.
Yes, and I agree 100%. And it's like you said, Rachel and Aelin and. Yeah, they're exactly the same, and I could, I said, I could totally see Rachel and them. They would be, I wonder, they would be really good friends.
They would be best friends. Like they would just sit down and get drunk together and have the best time, and
as they should.
Assassinate a bunch of people. It'd be great.
Just a great pastime.
Just normal stuff.
Yeah,
normal girls' night stuff. You know,
I mean, it sounds really fun to me. So you published this book in 2024.
Yes.
So it hasn't been too long, maybe like a little over a year and a few months. Yes. What has this writing journey taught you about yourself?
That I can do anything I put my mind to, even social media marketing, but I have to really put my mind to that.
That takes a lot of focus.
I do not like it. Also, it taught me that I should have hired an assistant who can do social media marketing so much earlier.
Nice.
It is worth the money. It's worth my time. It's worth my peace of mind. It's worth me not having to stare at Canva and say, but what do the people want to see? I don't understand.
Yeah.
How do I make the things? And then what do you make for the caption? I have no clue.
Social media marketing is very hard.
Whereas I have an assistant who can do it in like 3 minutes. And
you
just like, how do you even come up with this? I don't even understand.
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
Yeah.
So I wish I found her much sooner.
Okay. Well, you have her now. Better late than never.
I have her now. Yes. But I was like, I don't want to spend money on an assistant. I can totally do this. No. Sometimes you got to just pay a professional to do
just like bite the bullet and
yeah.
If you could go back in time to little Megan who wrote about mountain lions, and tell her one thing, what would it be?
To just have faith, because it's all going to be fine, and like the right story is going to come, and it will not turn off, and it will be 7 books, apparently 1,000 books. We'll see.
As it should be. I love that.
We'll see what happens. And you know, I hear all the time, like, trust that your readers will find you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of authors that are like, what's trendy? What should I write that's trendy right now? Don't do that. Because if it's trendy right now, it won't be trendy by the time you get around to publishing it.
Yeah.
Assuming you're planning on publishing a good book that's been professionally edited and that people will actually read. You need to write for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to write what you love and what you enjoy. If you're laughing and crying and having a great time as you're writing it, that's what's going to work.
Yeah.
Because then other people are going to feel those things too.
Yeah. And it won't be forced, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're writing, it's natural because
Mhm.
you're loving it. You're having so much fun with it rather
Yeah.
than writing something that is trending, like you
Yeah.
said, and it doesn't feel organic.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I'm only doing this because other people like it, but what do you like?
Yeah.
Right. I love that. Well, you answered my final question, so I guess I just don't have to ask it. It was going to be, what's one piece of advice to aspiring authors? But I guess.
Oh no, I have more advice.
Okay, sure. Tell me another piece of advice.
Aspiring authors, my best advice is to treat your writing like a business from day one.
Okay.
From day one, self-publishing is expensive. It's time-consuming. Probably you need to still have a 9-to-5 job, unless you're just a very fortunate person in that way and you just have a lot of money. I know a lot of authors, aspiring authors, who are convinced they don't need an editor. I see all the time on threads, on Instagram, in author groups on Facebook. Well, I got an A in AP English, so I don't need an editor. Yeah, you do. It is worth every penny.
Yeah.
There's standard pricing. It's usually per word. Yes, it's expensive, but that's how you make your book great. Like, I can write a good book.
Yeah.
The very first version of this, it was good. It was not great.
Yeah.
Editors know how to structure a story.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to cut out the fluff. They know where to expand. They know the grammar. They know the syntax. They know all those technical things that, I mean, I know that too. But when you write something and you self-edit, you become blind to the words on the paper because you know it in your head.
Yeah.
And your head is reading. Like, there's a disconnect between your brain and your eyes. And what you're actually seeing on the page is not always what your brain is telling you is on the page. Right? Because your brain thinks it knows already because you've read it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You need that outside input. You need beta readers that are going to be honest with you. You need an editor that you vibe with, that you click with. You need not necessarily a professionally created cover, but you need a good cover.
Yeah.
Because people do judge books by the cover. Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
They always will.
Mm-hmm. It's a true fact. Now we judge books by sprayed edges.
You need sprayed edges.
Well, you got pretty sprayed edges, so this is a good thing. We're judging happily here. They're very nice.
Yeah.
But I agree 100% with what you're saying. You do become blind to it. You need that fresh set of eyes that they know nothing about your book, but they if they read it, they'll say, hey, like, maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe move it or take this out type of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. It's worth every penny. And there's ways to finance your writing. Get a good accountant who understands what you're doing. Get a financial advisor who understands what you're doing. Like, you need a team of professionals to rely on to help guide you. I mean, I'm a project manager for my 9-to-5 job. I can manage it. Any project you give me, I can do it. Do I know tax laws? Absolutely not. Do I know anything about how much money I need to have saved in case X, Y, and Z happens? No. I got people for that, right? Just like I have a cover designer, just like I have an editor, just like I have subject matter experts that I ask questions to. You know, it's kind of a group project. You need a team backing you up. You are the project manager of your book.
Yeah.
But you've got to have all those, like department heads and experts helping to guide you and keep you structured and keep you on track.
Yeah.
So that you can actually be successful at this.
Well, it's like how you said, like, it's not just one person. Like, you have a whole team behind you. You have your alpha and beta readers, and you have people that keep you sane while writing. So it's really like that village. It's you write the books. It's your thoughts. It's your story, your soul on the page, but it's really like other people that kind of push you and help you to make it great. So
absolutely,
I love that. That was a beautiful wrap up, and I know you can talk so much about giving advice, but I want to turn it over to the audience and ask if you guys have any questions for Megan. Yes. Oh, if you have a question, where's my assistant? Sorry. The greatest assistant.
The technical expert.
I was just curious where you drew your inspiration from for like the Navy and all that.
Oh my gosh. So this is a crazy story. I actually had open heart surgery, like, when was 2022? 4 years ago? So 3.5 years ago. And I was laying in bed in the dark, recovering from surgery. I was like really light sensitive from the medication that I was on. So I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't be on my phone. I was just laying in the dark and I dreamed this book up. And then I got so carried, like pretty much the whole series got outlined in my head, like to the point that I had to grab my phone, turn the brightness down all the way. And I was like, Google Doc. Okay, no formatting. Just like, get out of my head. It came from whatever you believe in is up there, is where it came from. Yeah. And then I started fact checking things after and was like, how did I know that? That's weird. But yeah.
We've established.
I wish I had like an answer that was more me centric. Like, I'm just really cool like that. No.
I thought maybe you were in the military.
I was not. I wanted to be, but I have a medical disqualification. But my dad was, both of my grandfathers were, my aunt, uncle, like most of my family was. So I kind of grew up influenced by it, but did not get to do it myself. So now I just date the military. It's more fun. Yeah.
If I were to recommend your book to somebody whose brother was in the military and passed away, how do you think it would be too triggering for them if they had military-based trauma?
Oh, that's a really good question. It depends on the person.
Okay.
So I don't want to say be careful because, like, my dad's read it. He's fine. But it's war. There are characters that die.
Okay.
So I would kind of try to ask like where they are in their healing journey, because if it's fresh, if it's still really raw, if they haven't worked through it at all, it might be too much.
Okay.
But if they're open to it, it might help them heal to see like, the camaraderie and how you come back from it. Because one of the characters, there's some stuff that happens, and then like Rachel and Christopher have to like deal with their own grief and keep working, right? And it might be good.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then I also had a second question. I wasn't here for the first half of the interview. How spicy did you say both books were?
So the first book is a slow burn. I'd say it's maybe like a 2.
Okay.
The second one is not a slow burn. My beta reader read it on an airplane and told me it was not airplane appropriate for him to be reading on an airplane. Read into that what you will. God, he's gonna kill me if he watches this interview. It's okay. It's his fault. It's his fault for telling me that part of the story. So, yeah, the second one is definitely spicier and a little kinkier, and it progresses through the series of getting spicier. So, probably like a 2 or a 3, maybe like a 3.5, or depending on how you're gauging things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So I know you said that you plan to have 7 of these books. So I just wanted to ask, would you say that they end on a cliffhanger? And if they do, is it the type of cliffhanger that is like soul crushing, or is it the type of cliffhanger that just kind of leaves you wanting more? And you're
oh my gosh! So here's the thing. This just happened the other day. I was talking to my mom about something completely different, and she was like, "By the way, I finished your second book. I don't like the cliffhanger. Please tell me Rachel does the right thing, because I need the next book. I need to know." And I was like, "Well, you can find out in November like everyone else." And she's like, I am not okay.
Fair.
I was like, Mom, it's marketed as romance. It's going to have a happily ever after. Like, it's going to be okay. Please calm down.
7 books for it to be okay.
Well, that specific cliffhanger that is the end of Born in Blood gets resolved very early on in book 3. So I'm like, Mom, it's all going to work out exactly how you're like, it's fine. Please just breathe. Yeah. So there are a little bit of cliffhangers from the epilogues to kind of lead you into the next one. So I'm writing as fast as I can to I'm, doing my best.
Can I ask a question quick?
Yeah.
So if Skylark was to be a movie,
Yeah.
who would play the characters very well?
Rachel Riker would be played by Margot Robbie, I hope.
Yes, I can totally see that.
And then my assistant just asked me this. Who did I tell her would play Christopher? I have a whole list. Why am I blanking on names right now? Was Chris Pratt? I mix up all the Chris's.
Oh,
It's one of yeah. I think either one of them. They're so pretty. Yeah. So don't worry, I've cast the whole movie. Yeah. Yeah. We can find him a part. Don't worry. He can play their boss.
Sure,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I kind of want her boss to be like George Clooney and her dad to be Brad Pitt. Because I love their dynamic together, and her boss and her dad used to work together, so they know. But then her dad is like, "What do you mean you let my daughter be a SEAL? You didn't even tell me." He's like, "Sorry, bro." I mean, I'm okay with that, you guys. You have at it. I love it. Hype it up,
Yeah. So as you were writing, I understand, I haven't read it yet, but I understand that the characters are actively in the military,
Yeah.
right? So how did you manage balancing the military actiony part with the romance?
My editor was really helpful with that part, because there was definitely, I didn't understand as a first time author the kind of interconnectedness of the story plot and the romance plot. They're two separate but equal things. And if one is getting more action and heat, the other one needs to they need to kind of mirror each other, which I didn't really know. So learning. But definitely I think there's parts where, and the book, it gets pretty gritty. It's raw, it's realistic, but not super gory or anything. But there's definitely, they'll get out of the combat, out of these high action scenes, and they're coming down from the adrenaline high, and the emotions hit. So there's a scene where Rachel goes into the bathroom to take a shower after something goes down, and Christopher goes in there with her and is get your feelings out while the water's on and the rest of the team can't hear you, and it's just me. And supporting each other that way, and watching their dynamic and their emotional connection and kind of that sexual tension build up. Maybe I will read the first page as the reading, because I had a girl beta read for me, and she was on the second page, she's is there this much sexual tension throughout the whole book? And I said, I really hope so. Because, they're in really close proximity to each other all the time. There's the anti-fraternization policy. They're not supposed to be touching, but they're touching, they're elbowing each other out of the way. They're pushing each other out of the way of bullets. There's a lot of touching that. So it's a hard balance, but I think definitely the emotional stuff is where kind of that romantic tension and teasing can come into play during the more action-filled moments, or the internalization and how they're making decisions of I'd rather I died than they did, because I can't live without them. So let me jump in front of them, yeah. Or well, and then they'll play it off of well, I'd rather I get shot in the leg than they get shot in the head. Fair, logical, but also, because you love each other.
Right. Not everybody would take a bullet for somebody.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Did you ever get a moment of writer's block? And if you did, how did you get out of it?
Yes. So something that I learned during my PhD, as me and these 4 other women are sitting in our office dutiful, good girl PhD students that we were, super excited to start on this adventure. We're sitting there staring at our computers, like demanding that inspiration strike. And we had this like professor emeritus. So she was retired, but she, you know, hung around and helped us out with stuff. And she was like, you're not going to do anything by sitting here. Staring at your screen does nothing. It puts stress on your brain. It increases your stress hormones, which reduces your creativity. Please go home and do your laundry. Go for a walk. Do something. Get out of your brain. Stop overanalyzing. So anytime I hit a wall like that, I go for a walk. I clean my house. I blast Taylor Swift and dance around my house. Because you need your brain to relax in order for creativity to kind of bubble up, in order for those like weird ideas in your subconscious to click together in a way that's going to work. Forcing it doesn't make sense. And that's something I know a lot of authors that are like, I need an accountability partner so I can write 1,000 words a day. And I'm like, there's days that I write nothing. There's days that I seriously will sit down and write 20,000 words. Because inspiration and creativity, like it comes when it comes. You can't force it. And if you're forcing it, it's not going to come off as good as when it flows naturally. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question. Writer's block, go for a walk.
I have another question.
Okay.
You said that you work a 9-to-5 job, right? How do you balance that with wanting to write? Because I would love to be a writer myself, but my job kind of burns my brain out.
Yeah. So, how do I
Is
do
this
this?
like joyous laughter? I'm like, I'm about to cry.
No, this is like, one, I'm slightly insane. Two, I don't have kids. I have author friends who have a 9-to-5 job and they have kids, and I just look at them and I say, I don't understand your life. I don't know how you do this. Nights and weekends, like my schedule, I work 8 to 5. I'm up at 5:30. I have a cup of coffee. I'm either like journaling, I go to yoga, I might write, because sometimes I'll wake up and just be like, oh, that's how that works. And then I have to get on my laptop and immediately write it before I forget it, because while I was asleep, I wrote a book. I don't know. Something clicked. Like lunch break, after work, definitely my social life is affected. I don't have a lot of other hobbies. My friends know if they don't hear from me, it's because I'm writing. Like Thanksgiving, my friends have stopped. My family lives on the other side of the country. My friends have stopped inviting me over for holidays because I'm like, that's my writing time. I have a day off work. That's a full like 12 hours of writing, you guys. What do you mean you want me to come to your house and like do what? I know whoever's boyfriend is going to have some stupid sport on. We're going to eat some food. We're going to drink. Or I can sit at home and write a book. And they're just like, okay. So they think it's a little weird. But, that's what works for me. And just kind of blocking out that time and making it a priority that's the only way to do it, I think. But also, like I said, I will be out for a walk. Something pops into my head. I pull out my phone. I write it down. Yeah.
And I have another question. Sorry, I have so many questions.
Ask all the questions. That's why
I think you may have touched a little bit on it, but is there some more things that because there's an author I know who she said the book that she wrote was really healing for her. She said that it healed a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there was any closure you didn't have that maybe helped you heal with something. I don't know if it makes any sense what I'm saying, but there's is there anything that you wrote there that maybe writing it out and having it resolved in the book maybe helped you with closure?
I don't know about closure necessarily. So without giving away
healing.
A spoiler, there's definitely a thing that Rachel goes through in the book that is similar to something I was going through when I wrote the book. And a lot of people are like, wow, that's like really well described. Like, yeah, gee, I wonder why, guys. So I won't ruin the book by telling you what that is, because that really will a really big spoiler. But yeah, definitely. I think writing for me is definitely healing. I also got this book told me that I needed to get divorced. I got divorced kind of in the process of this. And just it kind of helped me find myself and identify, what I actually wanted in a partner. So I just keep writing these really great men that I'm like, can I date you? Can you be real? So and they just like manifest my best partner and my best life through my writing, which seems to kind of be happening, which is kind of cool. So now, like, anytime I start dating someone new, my friend's like, so which of his characters are you? And so it's like, so which amalgamation of your male characters is this guy? And I'm like, okay, so like this. I'm like, not that I have like a checklist, but I'm just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. All right. But it's just kind of a good way to see, like, play with different personalities and like what works for me and what do I actually want and how could this play out. Like, how do I actually want to be treated in a relationship versus what behavior I've accepted in the past. So how can I be more confident? How can I be more brave? How can I be more like Rachel, kind of maybe minus the unhinged, feral, trauma-infused things that she does? Because some of it's unhealthy. But she goes to therapy in book 2. It gets better. Yeah. It's necessary. So yeah, that's
Thank you.
lots of closure, lots of healing.
All right. Well, we can wrap up this
Yeah.
portion of the event. Megan, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thanks, everyone.
So now we're going to take just like a 5-ish minute break for people to get up, stretch their legs, use the restroom, get some coffee. It's that 3 p.m. slump that I'm falling into. And then when we come back, Megan is going to read us a little snippet of Skylark. Did you
Yes.
decide which one you're
I'm going to ask, and we'll discuss. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to also read out of the worn copy that I have and not crack the pretty.
We will choose during the break what she will be
I have a
reading. She will be
couple- I have a
reading
couple
something.
options.
Yeah.
Couple options. I'm just, again, Libra. I'm indecisive. I don't know.
It's fair. It's fair.
Because it's all.
You have like 7-ish minutes to
That's
decide.
good. I
Yeah.
will actually make a decision then.
Cool.
If
Awesome.
I have like an hour to decide, it's going to happen in the last 2 minutes of that hour.
We love that. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And we will see you back in 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you, guys. All right. So welcome back, everyone. Now we are going to listen to Megan read us a section of chapter 1 of Skylark.
It's like the first 2.5 pages. So definitely no spoilers.
We'll let you know if we want you to read that.
This is so fun. I feel like I'm like doing a
Story time. Yeah.
Thank you. Things need to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is the very beginning. So part 1, duty.
I love that she showed the.
My aunt's a kindergarten teacher. I'm like,
Reminds me like when my teacher used to read Harry Potter. She'd be like, look at the cover.
right?
So
nice. Okay, so chapter 1, September 2018. The air was full of anticipation as they circled each other. Rachel was less patient, moving in with a quick uppercut to Christopher's stomach. She assumed he would see it coming, hoped he'd be distracted by the taunting laughs coming from the other side of the gym. No luck. Christopher grabbed Rachel around the arms, restraining her. Life was easier when you didn't see that coming, Rachel teased. It seems to work just fine on terrorists, Christopher said through gritted teeth. Rachel gripped his forearms, her nails digging into his skin, and pulled his arms tighter around her. Then she threw the entire weight of her body into a somersault, flipping Christopher onto his back and allowing Rachel to free herself in the process. You and your fucking gymnastics moves, Christopher yelled, though he was laughing. He got to his feet, his own counterattack landing a thunderous strike to Rachel's ribs. She was momentarily winded by the impact, but she recovered, quickly launching a fierce barrage of punches at Christopher's abdomen. He ducked and weaved, his reflexes sharp. Rachel, lean and agile, matched his determination with unwavering confidence. Sound of their fists meeting flesh echoed through the gym, punctuated by their controlled grunts. Without warning, Christopher lunged forward, aiming a quick jab at Rachel's side. She swiftly sidestepped, countering with a low sweep kick that Christopher gracefully evaded. Their bodies moved in perfect synchronicity, a dance of power and skill that was a testament to their 9 years of training together as SEALs. With a renewed burst of energy, Rachel threw a powerful punch aimed at Christopher's jaw. He grabbed a hold of her hand, spinning her and pinning her arm behind her back before forcing her to the ground. She shifted and rolled her body, sweeping her leg around his, so that they were both on the floor wrestling for control. Christopher climbed on top of her, holding her down. Rachel's heart raced. They were breathing deeply, drenched in sweat. Rachel smiled up at him, her eyes sparkling. Christopher couldn't help but smile back. They knew each other's strengths, but she also knew his weaknesses. As their eyes locked, Rachel used her hips and all her body weight to flip him onto his back, expertly pushing his own arms against his throat as he landed. Christopher chuckled. Why do I feel like you use that move in other sorts of situations, too? Rachel winked and gave him a sultry pout as she pressed her thighs into his hips. Imagining me in bed, are you? Doesn't have to be a bed, Christopher flashed her a grin. Phone! Someone shouted from the other side of the gym. When neither Rachel nor Christopher broke their eye contact, the voice shouted again. Commander Rachel Riker. Sighing, Rachel glared over at their team's interagency liaison, Lieutenant Ryan Raven Rhodes. Ryan held up her cell phone. You've been summoned, Skylark. Admirals are here. Rachel wrinkled her nose, then looked down at Christopher. She was still straddling him on the ground. Sort of in the middle of kicking Williams's ass, Rachel told Ryan. Looks like you already did. Ryan gave Christopher a once-over. Get up. Conference room 3. For fuck's sake, Rachel muttered. The last thing she wanted to do was sit in a meeting. Ryan had mentioned admirals. Plural. That couldn't be good. You're in charge, she pointed at Christopher. Finish hand-to-hand combat training, then get the rest of the team up to speed on the situation in Afghanistan. Yes, ma'am, he grinned, before pushing her off him. She fell onto the mat beside him and slapped him on the arm with the back of her hand. Didn't you learn in kindergarten that it's not nice to push people? They both burst out laughing. Have a fun meeting, Skylark, Christopher teased.
Love it. Very good. Also, you are very good at narrating your book.
Oh God, I am?
Yeah, you are. Like,
Well, there already is an audiobook without me narrating it. Yeah. Yeah, so this is everywhere you can find audiobooks,
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge. Born in Blood is being recorded currently.
Okay.
My narrator got sick.
Oh.
A little behind. But it's duet narration. Very cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, audiobooks.
I forgot to mention the audiobook during the interview. So good thing on bringing it up.
Yeah. So audiobooks are great.
Yeah.
Love them. And they're amazing because they
Yes.
can do all the different voices and I can't do all the different voices.
Is it 2 narrators or is it just one?
There's 2.
Oh, it's like is it a duet?
It's duet. Yeah. It's duet.
Girl.
You're gonna do something, you do it right.
I'm an audiobook girly too, so I
It's duet. And
love
they're
them.
amazing.
The only time that I would read, unfortunately, sometimes, you know, like when I'm.
Oh no, I'm an audiobook girl too. Like if
Yeah.
I sit down to actually read something, it's shocking. Like I need an audiobook. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Megan.
you.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. A little snippet of what to expect.
Mhm.
So now the rest of the time is really just mingling, talking to Megan. If you want to get her book or books, feel
Yeah.
free. Now's the time. Save one for me because they're really pretty. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate you guys walking from down the, how far is it? 2, 3 blocks?
Yeah. It was like, I was 12 minutes.